welcome back. So first of all, let me introduce Sebastian. He's taken some time out from under the sea to hold my hair back for me today. So the video today is going to be a chit chat, get ready with me. It's going to be an update on my fertility journey. So I did do the first part about 10 months ago. I will leave the link up at the top if you want to go and see that first. So this is just a follow-on video while I put my makeup on because I've got filming to do today. So I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone. So let's get cracking. I've actually taken notes down as well, just so I know I'm not missing anything out. So I think I'm just going to start with the results that I was waiting for at the end of my last video. So basically, the gynecologist didn't say anything about endometriosis. That looks really pale. Doesn't that look really pale? I might need to add some more stuff. Yeah, she didn't mention any endometriosis. I asked about the bicornuate womb after the comment that the nurse had made, or the lady that was doing the scan, and she said you might have a slight heart-shaped womb, but nothing that we would worry about or anything like that. So what she basically said was that she just now recommended that I got in touch with a fertility clinic, which is what I'd already done. I'd already spoke to my GP and I'd already had the referral. So I had already spoken to my GP about getting my hormones tested and being referred to a fertility clinic. So I was actually waiting for the appointment to come through for the fertility clinic at that point when I'd had the follow-up consultation with the gynecologist from the other hospital. There was quite a delay in the appointment. I actually didn't end up getting it until December, and the letter that I'd received, like I explained in the previous video, it said if you didn't get an appointment by the something of September, then ring us up and let us know. So that's exactly what I did, and the woman was actually quite snotty with me and was like, yeah, there's a backlog, and I was just like, I'm just doing what the letter told me to do. So if the letter had said, bear with us, we'll be with you when we can get to you, then I wouldn't be bothered phoning. But I was just doing what the letter asked. So waited, and I got the appointment in December. So the appointment in December, Paul actually had to come with me as well. And it was basically them just, you know, taking all our like family history, what the issues were, taking my height and weight, and they did actually explain to us there that because Paul has already got children with his previous partner, that we do not qualify for any help with IVF treatment at all, so we will have to go privately and pay for it. And apparently whether or not you can get IVF treatment will depend on where you live, so it's like a postcode lottery. So in some places they won't question whether or not you or your partner have got children from a previous relationship. You'll just get IVF at least one round for free. Other places you will only get one round of IVF free. It just literally depends. So because Paul's already got kids, I wouldn't qualify for help with IVF even though I don't have children. Like, it seemed massively unfair, but you know, it is what it is. So at this appointment they stated that I needed to go for a 3D scan, or they were referring me for a 3D scan, and I had the scan in January of this year. I find the internal scans, what are they called, transvaginal scans, really uncomfortable anyway. So this scan, this guy was doing this scan, it was taking ages. After about 40 minutes he says to me, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to call somebody else in who's a bit more experienced because I can't find your right ovary. Now, my left ovary is tucked under my tilted womb. My right ovary is in the correct place. So he'd found my left ovary, which is hidden, but he couldn't find my right ovary. So I was just like, where's my right ovary gone? So we got a more experienced lady in to do it, and she found it straight away. I think he was just relatively new to the job, and as I say, or have said in the last video, I am really complicated inside. So she found the right ovary, no problem, and then she asked why I was there for this scan, and I told her I'd been under Wiston Hospital for, at that point, like 3.5 years almost, and I'd been told I had a cyst on both ovaries and a blockage in my left tube and whatever, and it just appeared that there was no information given with the referral as to why I was being referred. So I was just like, why does this happen? Why would you not send over the whole reason and the background for this referral? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. If you know why that doesn't happen, then let me know. But I just think it'd be common sense for the new hospital or clinic that you're under to know exactly why you're there and what your history is. But anywho, so after I'd had this scan, I saw a different lady, and she said, so we really could do with a 3D scan. And I was thinking, I thought that was the 3D scan. Like, that is what the letter that I received for my appointment said, is that I was having a 3D scan. So I had to go back again the next week to have another scan, a 3D scan. Just going to do my brows quickly, otherwise my update's going to be over before I finish doing my makeup. So bear with me a second. Can't decide what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to start putting stuff on my eyeballs and hoping for the best. So where was I up to? Oh yeah, so I had 2 scans in January, one of them being the 3D scan that I should have had the first time round. Yeah, so I got a phone call with the results of the scan, and the fella that I spoke to said everything's absolutely fine with your test results, meaning the blood tests that they've done. So all my levels were well within the range for fertility. There was evidence that I was ovulating, so there was no issues. And because I'd only been trying for just over a year, I couldn't get fertility treatment. And I said, well, I understood that, but what about me scan results? What are you going to do about, or are you going to do anything about, you know, what's going on there? And he said, what scan? I was like, Jesus Christ, why does this always happen to me? I said I had a scan originally, a transvaginal scan originally, and then I had to have a 3D scan the following week because they want to check up on me tube and make sure it's viable and make sure me ovary's viable, blah, 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 all that jazz. And he said, I can't see that there's a scan here, so it's likely that I don't have access to it, so can I ring you back in 5 minutes? Do I want to put that in the middle? Oh yes, we can do that, absolutely. So the guy gets back to me after about 5 minutes and says that because of everything that's going on, he was going to refer me for a laparoscopy, which is fine. I've already had a laparoscopy with the previous hospital, but they were doing a biopsy on the ovary and not on the mass in the left tube. So I had my pre-op appointment for the laparoscopy about a couple of weeks after I'd had that conversation with the dude. And during the appointment, she said, so we're going to be removing your fallopian tube and ovary. And I was like, I thought it was an investigation, and if it needed removing, you would then remove it. I haven't agreed to having anything removed. And she was like, oh right, okay, I'll just make a note of that. So it was all prepped, pre-op, done, ready to go. But then obviously lockdown, everything got put on hold again, and I didn't actually end up having me laparoscopy procedure until June. So because of lockdown and the backlog that they've started doing procedures on a Saturday. So I received a call on the Wednesday, which I actually missed because I was on a works call. So I phoned them back, couldn't get through, left a voicemail, and then tried again a couple of hours later. Finally got through, and somebody said, oh yeah, you can come in on Saturday for your laparoscopy, but you'll need to go for a COVID test straight away. Couldn't do it there and then, so I went first thing the following morning. And the lady had said to me on the phone, because I'd asked, I had to bring a sample with me, and I wasn't sure whether or not I needed to bring it on the day or whether I needed to take it with me when I went in to get test, like the COVID test. And the woman said, bring it with you. So went and got my swab, my COVID test, and said to the lady, I need to give in this sample as well, so do I give it to you? And she said, no, you need to give it in through the main entrance and whatnot. I ended up all over the hospital. Bearing in mind, after you had a COVID test, you're supposed to go straight home to isolate, so you're not coming into contact with anybody. So I ended up all over, being pointed from one place to another just to give in this sample. And it turns out I didn't need to bring it in that day. I was supposed to bring it in the day of the operation. So just misinformation, and I ended up all over the hospital instead of isolating. So I actually got a call later that afternoon, and I thought it was going to be to say that I had a positive COVID test and that I couldn't come in on the Saturday. But she basically said, oh, I'm returning your call, and you've left a voice message. And I said, yeah, I phoned yesterday because I'd missed a call from yourselves, but then I got through to somebody and it was about coming in for an appointment on Saturday. So she said, oh right, okay, can I call you back? So I said, yeah, of course. And she phoned me back and she said, I'm really sorry, but we're overbooked on Saturday, so we'll have to postpone it for another week, postpone your procedure for another week. So I had to go again the following week for a COVID test. This time I did know not to take my urine sample with me, but I had it the following Saturday. I think I'm going to use these Shein lashes. They're very big, very fluffy. So I went in the following week for the procedure, and beforehand you meet the fella that's going to be performing it, and he said, basically explained that they were going to be going in through my belly button. Now I naively assumed that the laparoscopy would be done the same way that I had it the last time, which was going in vaginally. Wasn't. So went in through my belly button, and he said, if we decide that the left ovary and tube are not viable, then we will just remove it while we're there, so you will have a second incision on the left hand side. So I was completely happy with that, because I thought, if it's not viable, if an egg is not getting through to be fertilised anyway, then it's absolutely pointless it still being there. So I was completely fine with that, because not only would it be beneficial for fertility, because removing one ovary kickstarts the other ovary to start releasing an egg every month, so I've got more chance of getting pregnant naturally. it would also stop all the issues that I've been having with the chocolate cyst and being in pain and stuff like that. So I wasn't at that point bothered. If it wasn't viable, then just get rid of it. It's pointless it being there. These lashes were an absolute nightmare to get on. But we got there in the end. So when I woke up from the procedure, I was really sore on the left hand side, so I just assumed that they'd taken out what they needed to take out. And if you've ever had a procedure before, you know the drill once you wake up is you need to eat, drink, wee before they'll let you go. So even though I was so drowsy and whatever, I just drank. Usually that's actually the first time that they made me eat before they would allow me to leave. So I don't know whether it was because they were going in around the same vicinity as my stomach, I don't know. But usually I can't eat after I've had anaesthetic at all. The only thing I can stomach is like yogurt or ice cream. But I thought if I want to get home quick, I'm gonna have to eat this. And usually if I force myself to eat when I'm not hungry, I'll feel really nauseous and want to throw up what I've put into my body, but I knew I couldn't do that. And then the fact that I was already nauseous from the anaesthetic didn't help either. Just had to change the battery. Nothing's going right during this video. I don't even know what I've said. I could have been chatting all sorts. Can't even remember where I'm up to. Well, basically I ate whatever they told me to eat. I drank a cup of tea and a full jug of water to make myself go to the toilet as quick as possible, and then had my little like discharge meeting with one of the nurses. So during this little discharge meeting, it turns out that they actually didn't remove anything. Basically, they'd gone in to remove the fallopian tube and the ovary, but they've realised that the tube is adhered to my bowel and the ovary is adhered to my pelvic wall. The doctor that performed the procedure has basically said that there's a high risk of damage to my bowel if he removes the tube and the ovary. So he's referred my case back to the fertility consultant so that he can decide whether or not the risk of damage to my bowel outweighs the benefits of having the tube removed for fertility purposes. So at this point in time, I'm literally just waiting to see what this fertility that was a loud slap. The fertility consultant says. I'm hoping that he says it's not worth the risk of potential damage to my bowel, well, a high risk of damage to my bowel. In that case, I will then just start looking for private clinics to get IVF done with. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. I feel like this video is very choppy and all over the place. I don't quite know what I've spoken about. So that's everything for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, then please subscribe. Bye!